All right, we got a reaction video today. We want to, we've been on the Bad Batch topic lately, but now we want to talk a little bit about the most recent Acolyte trailer. Give our thoughts on it, what we thought, how we think this show is going to go, good, bad, ugly, just the overall thoughts. So we're just gonna, me and Schultz are gonna get right into it, and we're gonna just pause periodically. We don't want to, ping any copyright stuff. So. We're going to pause periodically, scene by scene, kind of give y'all our thoughts, and then we might discuss a little bit at the end. But yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right to it.
Sounds good.
Make sure your sounds.
Close your eyes.
There we go.
Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them.
Got that little Obi-Wan Kenobi line from A New Hope.
I see that, yeah.
Tell me what comes into your mind.
Wait, is he playing the same character? 'Cause that's, isn't that,
You can pause it for a second.
yeah, isn't that, oh my god, from Rogue One? Or that literally looked like him. Am I tripping?
The Jedi?
Not the Jedi. He was, I'm one with the Force is with me, I'm one with the Force, you know?
Oh.
I don't know why, it literally looked exactly like him. I don't think it is, but it looked
It's not, is it? It's Chirrut, is the character in Rogue One. He kind of favors him a little bit, but it's a different
okay.
actor.
I just saw a glimpse of him and it just looked identical to him and it sounded like him for some reason.
You just keep hearing I'm the one with the Force with me, I'm the one with the Force with me. No, yeah, different guy, but I've heard that I thought originally when I saw this the first time, I thought some of the scenes looked like they were filmed in the volume, but I heard the other day that they actually filmed all of this. They did not use the volume at all for this.
Okay. Well,
so it looks pretty good. I think something that I pointed out to Drew when we were talking about it the other day was this is, and I think this is not just a Disney Star Wars trend, but this is a modern Hollywood trend, because you've seen this some other shows that I've watched, like The Wheel of Time, because I'm a big fan of the books, so I've endured the show even though it's not been very good. The Rings of Power was like this, and there's plenty of other shows, but there's this sort of idea that all the costumes have to look pristine, like they look like they just came out of a brand new from a tailor, or somebody that's they just off the rack,
Yeah.
And something that I've always talked to people about George Lucas and in the original trilogy and Star Wars in general is that he wanted his universe to feel very lived in and gritty and sort of dirty in some ways. And so that's why when you get to like Tatooine, everything's sort of, got dust and sand all over it. It's got, it looks old and rusty and broken down. And, and you get that aesthetic. And then when you get to the Death Star, you get this whole new, like the Empire is this well-oiled machine. It's all, everything's shiny and new and in state of the art. It's like you get those contrasts of like a poor farm boy from a backwater planet, and then he comes into this sort of bigger than life adventure.
Yeah.
And then you get into some of this other stuff, like with Ahsoka did it. They had like these costumes that just looked, pristine. And I can understand with Jedi, especially like you look in the prequel trilogy, where the Jedi, because they're Jedi and they have a certain name to live up to, like their costumes are going to be clean and pristine and stuff, and that's fine. But you notice when you get like you get other shots where you look at like Jango Fett, starting out at the beginning of the second, Attack of the Clones, his suit's like really shiny, and then you get like into the arena and it's all sort of dirty and dusty, and you get these
battle worn on the way.
Yeah, and even the battle droids and stuff, where it's like you get this idea that the world is very lived in, and the characters have kind of gone through a lot. Like Lord of the Rings was really great about that, where all the characters looked like they'd been running through mud, and in some cases they actually were. And I don't know, it's just I feel like that even though it might be a minor thing to some. It really, when you break that down, it's like you feel more really absorbed in the world when it feels realistic. And I think even the small things like that can take you out of that, where it's like, oh, I don't, certain characters, yes, it's fine that they look clean cut and like everything brand new, but like in Star Wars, you're going from planet to planet. That's not realistic because I mean, a lot of these planets are backwater, dirty. You're an assassin. Like this, chick seems to be some sort of assassin. You think she'd be kind of dirty and from doing some things, but that's just a minor thing I've noticed. It's not just a Star Wars or an Acolyte thing, but it's just modern Hollywood's done a lot of that lately, and
Yeah,
I think it takes me out of it at least.
that's fair. No, I agree with that. They do that, but it doesn't like a lot of the new stuff doesn't. Yeah, their clothing always stays clean for some reason. You're not wrong.
Even if they just had a battle, like their hair's perfect, their costume looks, and I'm like, okay.
That is
But
fair. Yeah.
anyway, let's watch a little bit
Watch.
more of this.
Yeah.
I see fire.
No, here's Trinity.
Yeah.
Oh snap. Okay, pause it for a second.
That scene right there
So
was actually really cool. I can't lie though. Little like pushback and stuff. Her whipping her hair back up was kind of cool. I like that.
yeah, it's kind of cool, but it's also like, and apparently this Carrie Ann Moss's character is supposedly this Jedi that uh, refuses to fight with a lightsaber or something along those lines, and she's learned this basically art of combat where she uses the Force and I guess hand to hand to fight her enemies.
Gotcha.
Which I'm not sure I'm a fan of because it just seems kind of almost they feel like I'm watching a martial arts movie instead of a Star Wars show.
That's fair.
But
I mean, yeah, that's fair. But also, it's like when we get like shows like Andor and stuff. Yeah, it still feels like a Star Wars movie, but it doesn't involve like Jedi and stuff like that. So like this is, I guess, to an extent, kind of similar to that. So I'll give it a chance. But
yeah, and I mean, I'm not prematurely judging that. I think, like you said, I think the scene looks pretty good. It's not having that background information of like that's how her character is. Now, if you just saw that Jedi doing that, and you're like, okay, what, just like stab her with your lightsaber, just get the lightsaber out. Which is weird because you'll see her later I believe in the trailer, which we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, I'll just I'll let you play through it, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
okay.
Someone is killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, Wookie.
What happened? I sensed darkness.
So, fun fact, real quick. The guy that we just saw. Here, I'll go back. Him right there. So that's the one guy that I thought was
Yeah.
him. But regardless, he's actually the main character in Squid Games.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
That is one I have not gotten around to watching yet, but
no, it's good. A little bloody and gory, but it's a good show. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just noticed that though. That's the main character in Squid Games. So
cool.
interesting.
I sensed darkness.
Okay, so now we get. Okay, pause it for a second. Now this is where I'm like, okay, we've got the one Jedi that's fighting with the hands. Now it's like now this guy who we've already seen to have a lightsaber, I believe, in one of the other scenes. At least he has one at some point in this scene. It's like,
Yeah.
is this just like a fad in the High Republic or something? Where it's like, yeah, we don't play with lightsabers. We just do kung fu or
Have
something.
him throw him off on our head type deal.
I It's-
Yeah, I mean, now that you're saying it, though, I guess that's a little. I don't know.
I mean, I want. It may not be a big deal, but it's like, are we?
Yeah.
I feel like the showrunner, which Leslie Headland's the showrunner. I feel like she might be going for more of a kung fu martial arts vibe to this show, which is
Different, but I mean,
Ye-
if it works,
ye-
it works, I guess.
I mean, we know that George Lucas borrowed some samurai-esque elements for Star Wars, but I don't think like MMA is like mixed martial arts was exactly what he was going for.
Yeah.
But
Agreed, probably not, but here we are.
But I think the line that the guy says there, where he says, someone's killing Jedi, it doesn't make sense. When I first heard that, I was like, okay. And then I thought about it, and I heard some other content creators saying some things, but um, the main thing to understand about the High Republic era is like it's 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
Yep.
It's in a time of peace, even more so than it was in Phantom Menace, and then at least at the beginning of the Phantom Menace, obviously there's kind of a war that takes place in the movie, but also a line that Mace Windu says in Phantom Menace, where he says, or no, it's Kiadi Mundi, where he says the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. That they have no idea the Sith exist, and so I think in the context of that, when the guy says, someone's killing Jedi, it doesn't make sense. I think that's because it wasn't very common for Jedi to die at all in that period.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't think Sith were even still around, and the fact that these Jedi, these the most powerful beings in the galaxy, it's like they were basically, as Anakin says in the Phantom Menace, he says, no one can kill a Jedi, and that's that sort of perception of that they're invincible, and so I don't know if that's kind of what the thought process is with that specific Jedi, but it would make sense from that perspective. But
no, it would. You're very right. That would make a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
All right, let's see what we got here. Was that Ezra Miller?
Hopefully not.
This isn't about good or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
She's really familiar as well, and I don't know.
Stop it right there. That line, that one line right there, makes me so nervous about this show.
Which one? Hold on.
She says,
and who is allowed to use it?
This isn't. She says that this isn't about
good or bad.
Oh,
okay. This is about power. And who is.
So you're talking about that then, right there, is what she just said.
Yeah, she says it isn't about good or bad, it's about power and who's allowed to use it. So this isn't just me, but there's a lot of Star Wars fans that are very, like, I don't know, pessimistic about the show because of this line. I think it's also because some of the things that were said at Star Wars Celebration with this specific panel for the Acolyte last year, where all the cast and the showrunner were coming out talking about how, one of the actors, he came up and he said, the great things, one of the great things about Star Wars is that there's no good or evil. It just depends on what side you're on. And I'm thinking, that ain't it, buddy. That ain't it. I mean, you look at, like, especially like the original trilogy and even the prequels, where it's like, George Lucas has said this on multiple occasions, where it's like this ultimate conflict between the dark and the light, the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. And there are clear distinctions between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm afraid is going to happen in this show is, and even Leslie Headland said they want to play, they're coming at this from the perspective of the villain and how, there wasn't really any dark side users around this time and what it was like to be outnumbered. And then she talks about how, I think she said her pitch to Disney was like that it's going to be Frozen meets Kill Bill.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't know how I felt about that either when they said that.
Well, and then when she elaborated on that, she said, in the sense that, Elsa's character, which is the ice princess in Frozen, I believe. Mm-hmm. I could be getting the names wrong. I've only, I don't like the movie at all, but I've seen it once or twice.
Yep.
Is like she's this character that gets perceived as a villain, but she's really not. Gotcha. And so what I'm afraid is going to happen is that the person that really should be the villain, and maybe this girl right here, who's the main character, the one we see on the screen right now, she's the main actress and the main character. Maybe she is going to be kind of a good guy, but if the show is referring to her when she's the Acolyte, Acolytes were, these disciples of the dark side of the Force, and it's like, you're evil if that's the case. And so I think what a lot of people are afraid of is that they're going to kind of make the Sith sort of sympathetic villains.
Okay.
And people are like, no, that's very un-George Lucas-like to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me nervous about it too. But
Yeah, I mean that makes it very cliche if they're gonna do something like that then. But
Well, it's
like,
it's not a good move.
yeah,
But at this point, it's like based on everything that the cast and the showrunner said, it's kind of what everybody's expecting. So,
yeah,
you know.
that's fair.
Anyway, let's
He's
watch the
allowed to
rest of
use
this.
it. What is that?
Hey, where was the lightsaber earlier, bud?
Wow.
So
All right.
big problem with, and this is I didn't bring this up. If you're a big Star Wars fan and you want a really good Star Wars exclusive channel. Well, I don't know the guy. I've been following his channel for a long time. But his name's Thor Skywalker, and he does a really good. That's his channel name. He does really good reviews on basically anything Star Wars. He does some other things with Marvel as well, hence the name. But his point was about this specific scene was that you know to make that line from Ki-Adi-Mundi in the Phantom Menace ring true of like the Sith, their belief that the Sith are extinct is that they would have to have basically no interaction with the Sith. The Jedi would not be able to have any interaction with the Sith for a millennia, and um, so one of two things is going to happen here: either they're going to retcon that from an official George Lucas movie, or every single one of those Jedi in that scene need to die, so they can't actually report that they saw this Sith when they saw this Sith. So, um, it's a potential canon breaking scene. Like I said, I'm not going to prejudge that, but it could be very problematic if they're not careful with how they tread with that. But
What you're saying is that the show may be a little spicy when it comes out.
oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
Oh man, I did
So,
not know
what did
that.
you
So
think
that's.
overall?
I mean, I don't even know. I mean, the action looks like it has potential, to be honest, but I don't know how the story's gonna be. Like
It
that's
doesn't really tell you much about the story other than
all it
like
tells
someone's
us.
killing Jedi. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's really it. Which I mean, like honestly, could be a good thing too. Though it makes you like more like wondering like what's gonna happen. Because I know a lot
If
of
if
movie
if people
trailers
care
are.
enough to watch it, like you have to make them care enough to watch the show.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in a lot of movies, trailers just kind of reveal too much. So I suppose it didn't do a ton. So I don't know. I will give it a shot. Hopefully, it'll be good. But
Well, and we might be gluttons for punishment on this channel, but since we always talk about Star Wars stuff, that's one of our main things. We will be reviewing this show episode by episode when it comes out. So if you are going to watch it and you want to be a part of that, then please tune in June. And if you don't want to watch it, then listen to our reviews and we'll see what we thought about it. So
we'll suffer for you.
yeah, we'll suffer for you. So. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for that one. But we'll yeah, just give us a like, subscribe, comment, share this video with other people if you like what we do, and we'll see y'all next time.